Welcome to Green Biz Studio. I'm Deanna Anderson, and I'm speaking with Garry Cooper, founder and CEO of Rheaply, a resource management exchange platform. Hi, Garry.
Hi, Deanna. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm amazing, and I'm grateful to be here. Thanks for having me, and I'm excited to have a conversation.
Awesome. So let's just get to it. The first question for you is kind of related. We've talked before. I wrote a story about you in Rheaply back in January. And you, at that moment, were doing a lot of work with companies and universities, but a lot has changed since January. Can you tell me a little bit about how Rheaply has shifted its work since that time?
I can. The world has changed since January, no less. So we've been doing a lot of things since January. Given the realities we all face in COVID. One of the things that we've done is try to work with local governments to kind of connect folks who need PPE to folks who have it. We've done it in kind of two spades. The first thing that we did back in late March is with Northwestern University and Northwestern Memorial Hospital System. We started something called the Emergency Resource Exchange, which connected frontline clinical workers looking for PPE to tattoo artists, veterinarians, people who might have PPE to spare through our technology. I'm kind of coming into the reopening phases of a lot of governments here in Chicago around just after Memorial Day. With the city of Chicago and the office of the mayor, we started something called the Chicago PPE Market, which connected locally suppliers of PPE to local small businesses and nonprofits looking for PPE for their employees and their customers as they reopen safely. So what we've tried to do is use our technology, which of course connects people to items traditionally, specifically to kind of help with PPE sourcing during this unprecedented time and I think global history.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like something that is so great about Rheaply is you all kind of make sure that assets that are at one place and not being used get to where they need to be,
Exactly.
like the PPE that you
Exactly.
just described. So why would you say it's important for companies and governments and all different types of entities to continue moving towards a zero waste type of mentality?
There are many reasons. Some of them are not my own. The first that comes to mind is just the reality of the effects of climate change. A very famous white paper, I think all of the audience has probably read, from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation and Google, published at the end of last year, shows that if we don't move to a fully scaled circular economy, we only abate the effects of climate change about 55%. So moving towards a system and an economy by which we do not waste things, we view usage over consumption and access over ownership is super important. And zero waste is the mechanism that every company, in my mind, government and organizations should be taking hold to make operational today. The question is how you get there. And I think us, along with a lot of other organizations, have answers to help those companies get to zero waste and thus help us all get to some type of circular economy very soon.
So I'm really excited to keep abreast of everything that Rheaply and other companies are doing in that vein. Can you tell me a little bit about the exciting goals and initiatives that Rheaply has right now?
Yes, some of them are secret, but some of them I can preview. So, some of them come out of some of the work that we kind of previously talked about with the work that we were doing during COVID. So it's very apparent to us. We had really focused on enterprise businesses and trying to help them towards their zero waste goals, trying to help them reduce overspend by taking up circular principles. It's now apparent to us that we need to extend that type of reach to the small business and medium-sized business community. And we think that some of the work that we've done in that PPE marketplace, that local to local marketplace, really sets the scene for how we can connect the end of use of items from kind of large organizations and enterprises to the beginning of use for small businesses and nonprofits who could use them to operate their business or use some parts of them to kind of make more value for their customers. So we're really excited to kind of think about how do we connect large businesses and small businesses and nonprofits through technology, all in an effort to continue to expand circular principles. So we're really excited about kind of a whole new kind of audience for our technology.
Yeah. So obviously, Rheapley won't be the only one to be doing this work. I'm curious if
Yes,
you have any,
hopefully
if
not.
you have, yeah, hopefully not. I'm curious if you have any advice for other companies or organizations that are trying to do similar work to what you're doing.
Yeah, I think one of the things, I think thematically, one of the things we always do is think about our values at Rheaply. Right, so we have 7 core values, and we try to make big decisions based on the things that we cared about whenever before we had to make the big decision. So the first thing is to kind of take a look at your values and are you living up to them? I think operationally, the thing that I would think about is how do we all, where we well positioned, how do we support our local small businesses and nonprofits? They're the backbone of every local economy, and our economy is made up of local economies. And then, but how do we support them not only in kind of getting back on their feet, but how do we support them in being more circular, right? And thinking more circular, even when their dollars might be short and the issues that they might be having are grave. So I think we've been trying to do that through working with our city governance, state governance, and I would encourage more entrepreneurs and founders and CEOs to kind of think about how can you not only live out your values, how can you not only think about helping small businesses, but how can you do that in partnership with local stakeholders like municipalities, states, and cities?
That sounds like good advice for me. Thank you, Gary, for sharing that.
Of course, of course. Thanks for
um,
having me. This is awesome.
no problem. You just heard from Garry Cooper, founder and CEO of Rheapley. Thanks for tuning into Green Biz Studio.